quick announcement.
311.
Team 311, you're needed up here at the registration desk to pick up your shirts if you're out there. Team 311. 311. Team 311.
Can you hear back there? Ask me if you can hear there.
Can you guys hear me back there? Way in the back, in the cheap seats. You guys ready to start? I'm ready to start. We're missing Glenn. You got the wrap? Hey, Sam. You got the raffle stuff? Ready?
I'm just to the part where he's starting to talk.
All right. Sweet.
Not bad. Can I leave it there? Bring it down.
All right, you guys ready to get this started?
It's good.
All right. Welcome to Aero Design East 2020. Welcome back to Florida. By show of hands, who all has been here before? All right, so there's quite a bit of folks who know what to expect here. So tomorrow we'll be at essentially the same site, just right next door. And we'll go through what field ops look like, what safety looks like, and a couple of other things. Got a handful of prizes this year for teams that came. It's a bunch of tools to help your programs. And that you should be able to use at the field if you need to. We're going to start tonight with a quick hoorah video from our primary sponsor, and then go into a brief section presentation. And then we've got one of our rules committee members is from Skunkworks, and Ryan Reynolds from Skunkworks is going to be giving us a presentation on his new airplane. He's the PM for that project. And then we'll wrap it up with the safety presentation for how we're going to do field ops tomorrow. So, Neil?
At Lockheed Martin, we're on a mission. Your mission. The one that lives depend on. The one the future depends on. The one that's unlocking new energy sources. Or the one that's uncovering enemy locations. Whether it's on the front lines, at sea, in the air, in cyberspace, outer space, or on the cutting edge of science, your mission should never be taken lightly. That's why, when millions of people are counting on you, you can count on us to build the impossible, to invent the inconceivable, to imagine new ways to get where you need to go, and give you tools that help you finish the job when you get there, to innovate, create, and solve every problem with speed and reliability. Because we know that missions aren't about getting around to it. They're not about crossing your fingers. They're about getting it done. They're about getting in, getting what you need, and getting home safely. Every mission is an expedition of the greatest importance, both to you and to us.
Hoorah, right? Hoorah. So you guys are going into your fields because you want to be a part of projects like that, inspiring projects that change the world, right? And it starts with the first step at SAE. And, excuse me. The key for you guys over the rest of your career is how formative this event will be for you. So I want you guys, when you go home, to reflect on that. I want you all to write a white paper to yourselves, to your future selves. I tell this to everybody, so if you've been here before, you know that I'll tell you this. You need to be talking to your future self what you did great today, what you're going to do great tomorrow, what you learned, what you failed at, and how you can do better. Write that as a note to yourself to remember later in your career, right? Because part of engineering is being reflective, and understanding what your successes and your failures look like and how you can get better from them and grow. Okay? So we're going to have a blast tomorrow. We're going to have a blast on Sunday. We're going to fly a lot of hardware. We're going to push you hard, and we're going to keep the flight line running real fast, and which we've been doing here for a lot of years now. And we get a real good, efficient flight line running, and we'll go into how we achieve that and how we keep that up. But the intention behind that pressure is to give you guys plenty of opportunities to excel. Okay? So when we ask you guys to get to the flight line and get there fast, it's so that we can get your airplane into the air so that you guys can fly a lot, right? Because that's my first priority, is to make sure that I can get as many flights in for you guys over the weekend as possible, because you came here to fly. You came here to compete. You came to put hardware in the air. So with that brief intro, I'm going to introduce myself. I'm Mike Bearswell. I'm the East Contest Director. And 18 years ago, I was in your seats. I raced 2003 and 2004. So quite a while ago. And I've been involved ever since. And you guys, as part of giving back, you need to find things that inspire you to keep you sharp, right? This is one of the ways that I stay sharp, as I stay involved. So additionally, we've got Lonnie Dong here. Lonnie, where are you? Is he still scoring? He's working on your presentation scores right now, so he's not out here at the moment. But he's our Rules Committee Chairman, and you'll meet him tomorrow. Lonnie will be familiar to you. If you've been at an SAE Aero event before, Lonnie's always behind the computer trying to make sure that your scores are right. Dave Moriniti will be working with him on that endeavor. The two of them kind of tag team that and make sure that that all works. Glenn Cashin, Glenn, Paige and Glenn. Glenn is our chief judge. Glenn is going to be the one out on the flight line making sure your flights are scored properly. And so he's going to be up here with me a little later to go through how field ops are going to work. We also have Ashley Flick. I saw her over there. She organized all of the judges to score all of your technical papers. I want you to give Ashley a hand, because it takes 150 volunteers to score the papers. 150. And that is no easy feat. They got finished being scored this morning. So she gets those prepared and ready to go. It takes us a month and 150 volunteers to do it. Tom Blakeney, you saw him in inspection today. He's the Fort Worth contest director and our lead inspector. Charles Andrews couldn't be here today. He's our oral presentation lead. He coordinates all the judges for oral presentations. You guys got to talk to some really long-running industry professionals today. I hope you got the opportunity to interact with them and learn from them. That experience will be formative to you. Unfortunately, Charles wasn't able to make it, so Kevin is his stand-in, and so many of you saw Kevin 1 and Kevin 2 today, trying to help you guys get through the oral presentation process. Josh Childs is our chief inspector, and he's also inside helping Tom, unless I missed him out here. And Neil Patel. Neil has been setting up all of the volunteers for field ops and helping Josh coordinate for inspection volunteers. And Deb Monaghan, I think she's been in and out all day. She's from communications at Lockheed. She's our prime sponsor. So if you see Deb over the weekend, she'll be with Ray taking pictures. Over the weekend, thank her, because she helped secure the additional funding it takes to secure this facility and get the flight line running for you all. So make sure you thank her. And then Ray from SAE Communications, he'll be photographing you all and filming you and applying it to the live feed, right? So that everybody will be able to see and hear what's going on all through the day.
And we're live streaming now.
We're live streaming now. So those of you in the back who can't see or hear me, You can sign into your phones. Next chart, please. I also want to point to our hosts, Sam Burrill, Victoria Ewing, and Sarah Guffey, and Jamie Knopf. You guys have to forgive me, names are something I struggle with. Sorry, Jamie. And I'll have Sam come up here and talk while I prepare for a raffle, real quick, to raffle off one of these prizes.
Let's introduce the membership team.
Okay, yep, all right. Nicole, Corey, come on over here. Nicole and Corey are from SAE membership. They've got a few words to say, and then I'll prep a raffle prize while Sam talks to you.
Hi guys, as you said, I'm Nicole, this is Corey, and we just have two really quick things to talk to you guys about today. First, we are giving away these nice shop towels, and in order to get one, it's actually very easy. We are going to be handing out these very nice membership tickets here. We'll pass them around, put them on your tables. If you could fill out the information on the back, it's just your contact information. We have all this information on file already with you guys, but it's just to make sure we have everything up to date so that we're not sending things to the wrong address. Once we get these back from you and you can just put them on the table on your way out, we will hand you a shop towel. So again, we'll put these on the table. You can fill them out during this presentation. Or if you don't have time tonight, you can fill them out when you leave and hand them back to us tomorrow during any part of the day. We'll be here until about 3 o'clock tomorrow.
Thank you. And how many of you are graduating this year? Well, congratulations. I know it's going to be exciting and a little scary, but SAE, as part of your last student member benefit, gives you a 1 free year professional membership. So that is also why it's pretty important for us to get your updated information, because when we automatically transfer you to your professional membership, we're going to send you some information. We need to know where to send your magazine, etc. So yeah, congratulations, and we're looking forward to seeing you guys compete tomorrow. Thank you.
I'm going to have one of these ladies draw the first prize. Universidad Autónoma de Nuevo León. León, come get it. Come get it. So before I turn this over to Sam, I was just checking my phone real quick. We'll let our neighbors go by. That is a Lockheed Martin P3. That's the Hurricane Hunters leaving. Sounds like a bunch of angry hornets.
Angry drones.
Can you guys all still hear me with the drone going on? Yeah? Okay. So what I was checking on my phone, I wanted to let you guys know Florida's kind of a unique place in the United States. If you haven't been here before, particularly Central Florida, there's a lot of amazing aerospace tech industry. Saturday night at 11:50, at 11:50, 30 seconds, SpaceX is doing a launch. You will be able to see that from Lakeland if the sky is clear. So if it launches, pay attention to your phones. You will be able to step out, look east, and you'll see the rocket launching.
That's tonight.
It's
Tonight.
tonight. The 7th is what it says on my phone.
Tonight. We'll go
Is
with
it?
tonight.
Is it tonight?
Tonight.
All right. Well, today's the 6th. My phone says the 7th. Anyway, check both nights. So, check on it. It's really cool to watch a launch from here. You won't be able to hear it, but you'll be able to see it. With that, Sam?
Good evening, guys. How you doing tonight? Real quick, if you lost a set of Toyota keys, they're on the table over there. So if anyone's missing Toyota keys. Guys, I just got a few quick updates. I want to make sure you understand exactly what went on here today, last week, last month, and back to August when the rules were put out. Yep. All of the volunteers, can I get a hand raised, guys? Are there volunteers up over here, over there? There's probably about 100 of these people involved in this event. And I said it earlier, and I can't even remember if I said it earlier to Gene or to Glenn or not.
He's your favorite, Gene.
What these volunteers did was spend hours reading your papers. They spent hours setting up all day. They spent days getting together all the templates, answering all your questions. I don't know if Tom is here. Tom's probably still back there. Tom has answered more than 500 of your rules questions. He actually read them and answered almost all of them. So I want to make sure you guys understand that. And I want you to do me a favor when you come to the line tomorrow, when you run into a blue shirt, when you run into a volunteer that's going to be walking with you and it's going to be your flight steward tomorrow, thank them for what they did. This event would not take place if it not for the volunteers. And most of these volunteers were in your place some years ago, some longer than others. But they come back and they volunteer, and I want you to do the same thing if you can. We have a new one, as Elizabeth isn't here either. She was one of the ones that surprised me. She came back from Seattle, and she got hired at Boeing. And she's back entering numbers with Lonnie, I believe, at this point. So that's really important that you understand these volunteers are doing it on their own time, with their own money, and they're giving up family. And that's an important thing to remember. I want to take an opposite of what Mike did. I want the hands of who has never been to one of these events. Raise your hand if you've never been to one of these events. There you go. That's 70%, something like that. That's what we want to see, the new guys. I also want to mention safety. Not only with the planes, because tomorrow and Sunday looks to be windy. So we want to make sure you guys understand when the planes are in the air, you want to make sure at least one of your group is looking, is available to see where that plane goes, and can help out and warn people if that plane gets out of hand. The other safety item is the coronavirus we've been talking about. SAE is abiding by the World Health Organization. We're doing everything we can. You'll see the antiseptic wipes all over tomorrow. You've seen them all over today. Take your appropriate precautions, whether it's from your university, from your school, however you want to protect yourself. Wash your hands, soap and water. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Besides telling, Sarah's great. Download the app. Who has not heard about the SAE Aero Design app? Raise your hand. Admit it. We've got an SAE Aero Design app. Everything, and when I say everything, everything you want to know about this event is on there. The entire presentation that you're going to see tonight is on that app. So take a look at it. If we've got changes, if we have updates, it will be there. The last thing I'm going to do tonight, at least from my point of view, is give out 3 free early pre-registrations. You guys know what those are about, right? When you go online and try to register in October, you can never get on. This allows you to go and register a week early, and I'll be giving those away tonight after this event, so stick around. You have to be here to take it. Are there any questions? Who has been here before? Raise your hand. Somebody has been here before. Where's the complaint department? No, here. not him. I am the complaint department. You have a complaint, You have something you want to compliment me about, I'll take that too. But for the most part, I'm the complaint department. I said earlier, these volunteers have worked too hard for you to come up and
Hey,
bitch to
Sam,
me.
I'd like to point out, can we go back a slide?
Oh, there it is. I didn't even
You
see
failed.
that. I didn't even see that. But yes, I am the complaint department. I take the heat. I will follow up and do what I can to make it right. Are there any questions on my end at this point? Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
So, full disclosure, I did fail. It is tonight. So go out and watch. It should be clear enough tonight. Next slide. Tonight, Mr. Reynolds, Ryan, my counterpart from West, has prepared a special presentation on the X59 program from Skunkworks, which is a NASA product. And I will turn the mic over to him as we change presentations.
Thank you.
Ryan, before you start, there's a lot of glare here. Can we move it over a little bit? Is that better? Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Okay. I get to be involved in this competition, and I feel very lucky and blessed to be here with you guys today. A lot of anticipation, obviously, and excitement. I got to participate in oral presentations today. I enjoy that. And if you come out to the California event next year, you'll see me there. My day job, though, is to work for the Lockheed Martin Skunk Works in California. Really neat place to work. We do a lot of things that we can't talk about, but this is one of the things we can. And so I'm going to share today one of the projects we're working on, which is called the X59. This is a NASA program, the low boom flight demonstrator. Go ahead. This is a picture of it. Kind of hard to see for some of you. You can go and find pictures of this online. Pretty long airplane. Talk about what it's designed to do. Talk about low boom theory and challenges, but first we'll start with sort of a history of going fast. Okay, a lot of research and a lot of interest in supersonic travel, and this is a program designed around open market. Going back to the 1960s and 70s, there was a lot of interest in supersonic aircraft, but really it was only the Concorde and the Tu-144 that were successful in getting to market, although the Tu-144 only flew 53 times commercially. The Concorde started flying in 1976 and flew all the way through 2003. So a lot of us remember those days. But the interesting thing about the Concorde was it could only fly supersonically over water, because in 1973 in America, supersonic flight over land was prohibited, and it has been ever since. We finally gotten to a point now where there's some other companies out there looking at supersonic travel again. Spike is looking at it, Boom, and a company called Aero. And they're all investing in looking at new designs for commercial supersonic travel. But none of those designs are quiet boom designs. And so they will all suffer from the same sort of challenges that the Concorde had, which is how do you fly fast over land, given that there's a prohibition in America and in a lot of countries around the world. Okay. So, if you know that you can't do that, what can you do about it? Well, there's been a lot of research that has been done to figure out how to quiet the loud sonic boom associated with going supersonically. And the research is there, going back to the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And you really have to think about the area of your passing a plane through the aircraft and the area profile that comes with that. Also the lift distribution over the length of your aircraft. And we know that. We've got the theory. So how come we haven't been able to do anything about it? Go ahead. Well, there's a lot of challenges of actually making that work, even if you have the theory. And you guys are going through a project this weekend where you've been given a set of requirements. You have to go out and meet the challenge. In the same way, there's a set of challenges associated with designing a low-boom aircraft, and the X-59 is meeting those challenges. What's really the differentiator now that allows us to do this is that the computational technology that comes with predicting the propagation of the sonic boom down to the ground and the boom carpet that results is now much, much higher with some of the CFD tools that we have. And so that allows us to use that as a predictive capability in the design cycle. If you have the ability to predict, then you can use that to design. And that's something that really only in the last 10 years has gotten to a level of fidelity that allows us to then go and address a market and a challenge that we've known about for many decades but haven't been able to do anything about. Okay, next. So we're not starting from nothing. We've had the opportunity to leverage a lot of previous low boom research, and that's the case in most things that we do in aerospace. There's got to be people that are setting the groundwork and pushing the envelope and developing the technology to allow us to move forward and stand on their shoulders. Lockheed was involved in a supersonic transport aircraft about 20 years ago, not quite, 15 years ago. A number of other agencies and groups, including JAXA in Japan most recently, but looking at low boom research and showing that there is a capability there. Okay, next. And that leads us to kind of where we are now with the X-59. It's a program that NASA is sponsoring. Lockheed Martin is the contractor building the aircraft. The intent is to build an X-plane, the first manned X-plane for NASA in 30 years, to go and collect data around the country, measuring sonic boom loudness and annoyance, and gather community response data with this aircraft to determine, okay, what is the right threshold of loudness that would be acceptable to people? And we think the answer is somewhere around 75 perceived level decibels, which is about the sound of a car door slamming. Thump. And that's much quieter than a traditional supersonic aircraft sonic boom if you've had the privilege of hearing that boom that comes with that. It rattles windows and is very disruptive and has led to the environmental concerns which have led to the prohibition. So if we're successful with this aircraft, which we're building right now, and I'll tell you a little bit more about the design in a minute, then we'll be able to get that prohibition repealed and establish a threshold, which then allows companies to come out and say, okay, I can design an airplane to meet that threshold, which will allow me to fly supersonically over land and open up a new market that doesn't exist now. So we have objectives, just like you have requirements and objectives that we gave you as a rules committee. Same thing for this program. There's a lot of similarity between what you guys had to achieve and what we're trying to achieve with this program. You can't see the graph, but I'll describe that the Concorde is on the chart in the bottom left. Way up there in the upper right of that chart is loud. There's an actual perceived level decibel and a subjective loudness scale there. We're trying to get to the bottom left of that graph, which is where the X-59 is designed to operate, much quieter profile corresponding to that sort of car door thump. Okay. We're partnered with NASA at Lockheed Martin on this activity. There's several phases. We're in the design phase build phase right now, which is phase 1. We're expecting to get to flight test at the end of next year. And that will launch us into a phase 2 where we're doing some acoustic validation. So we'll take the aircraft up to NASA Armstrong at Edwards Air Force Base in California after the initial flight envelope expansion in Palmdale. And we'll do tests where we fly over microphone arrays on the ground, really characterize the angle of attack, the altitude, the speed, the atmosphere that the boom is propagating through. Is it a hot day? Is it a cold day? And get an understanding of what boom level reaches the ground so that we have that calibration in phase 2. And then phase 3, we turn the keys over to NASA. Here's your airplane. Take it around the country and go and collect that community response data. Build a database of what that threshold is that's acceptable. Call people up. Hey, did you hear that boom today? Oh, it was terrible, I hated it. Ah, we didn't fly today. Aha. So there is a psychological component to this. There will be placebos and blinds and a very interesting campaign, and there's a group of people at NASA that are working on that piece of the puzzle for that phase 3 activity where they go and collect the data. Did you hear the boom? Was it too loud? Did you see the rocket launch?
Can I ask a question?
Please.
How are they going to handle communities like Central Florida that are desensitized to things landing supersonically?
Yeah.
Fly faster.
There's
rattle more of my dishes.
There's obviously different communities around the country that will have different levels of acceptance, and that's the intent of flying it in multiple places. What's interesting is that if you're outside and you hear a boom or a thump, you may have a different expectation of what's loud and annoying than if you're inside your house. You have different expectations of what's quiet and what's acceptable. And also the presence of the building transforms the sound to lower frequencies, which is often more annoying for people. So you got to take all those things into consideration through this testing. Okay. This is a 3 view, much like you guys had to produce for SAE Aero design. Very difficult to see with the sun the way it is. It's a very long aircraft, very pointy. Very characteristic of supersonic aircraft. You like things that are long and pointy to go supersonic. Once you get to hypersonic speeds, then bluntness suddenly becomes a thing again. Or subsonic speeds where you don't have the shock forming. But for these particular aircraft, very characteristic. If you want a low boom design, you really want length. You want not so much wingspan. Part of the magic of producing a low boom is to prevent the shock that's forming over the different features of the aircraft from coalescing and getting into what's called an N wave. And these types of designs, with our ability to predict the propagation, are designed to have a ramp instead of a step function, and that's where you get the quieter result, but you really do need length, and this aircraft is very long. Okay. Here's some features which again you can't see, so I'll tell you. One of the key enablers of this is our ability to predict, which I've already described, but there's another piece which is the forward vision system. There is no windshield at the front of this aircraft to see out of. It uses a high definition camera. And that's a key enabler for this that NASA has invested in. So the pilot sitting in the cockpit cannot see forward. They can only see what the camera shows them. So if you're in the advanced class, you know about the ground station and what you can see maybe out of the aircraft. Very similar sort of thing. This system has been tested by NASA already. They found that the person sitting in the back of the King Air airplane with the high definition video system could make out traffic in the pattern before the pilot sitting out, looking out the front of the aircraft. So it was actually a higher capability than the eyeball in the front of the vehicle. Pretty impressive capability, and something that would be an enabler for a lot of autonomous systems. Okay. So we started the program last year 2 years ago in 2018. We had our critical design review last September. We're in the manufacturing phase and finishing up the drawing release right now. We're expecting by the end of the year to get to our system checkout stage where the vehicle will be completed. And we'll start the testing and the ground tests and the system checks. And that should lead to first flight capability late next year. It's an unclassified program, so you can all keep track of it at NASA's website or go and look for it online and see how we're doing. And then my last piece here, we have a concept then. This is an X-plane just to collect that data set to establish that threshold. But we have looked at what a conceptual design of how you would leverage this for a commercial transport and what that would look like. We think at Lockheed that the right answer is about a 40-passenger vehicle, maybe 0.8, 55, 60,000 feet cruise altitude, maybe 4,000 or 5,000 nautical mile range. The market for a vehicle like that would open up a lot of city pairs that the Concorde didn't have as a 100-passenger aircraft, Mach 2, only being able to fly supersonically over water. So there has been work done on how you would leverage the X-59 and the capability that that would bring and the rule change that that could potentially provide into what might come next. That's probably still a decade away. And like I said, there are some other companies looking at supersonics right now. It's a really exciting time to be getting back into that after a kind of a quiet period where there wasn't much opportunity. And maybe if we're successful with the X-59, we get to a point where in our lifetimes, we all have the opportunity to fly supersonically, which we can't do right now unless you're in the military. Thank you very much for your time tonight. Appreciate getting to share a little bit about the X-59 and what we're doing at the Skunk Works. Look forward to the competition tomorrow. Stay tuned now for the important rules piece about making sure that we're safe and we understand the operations for tomorrow.
So I know you can't see the chart right now, and we'll move it again. Can you? No. Yeah, we're kind of washed out completely. But the reason we invited Ryan here is, we're speculating about what to do for rules for microclass next year. Who wants to design something supersonic? Made entirely out of balsa wood and prop driven. Yeah, good luck, right? Well, we are going to do the best that we can.
I slide it over there.
Okay, give us just a second. While we're doing that, Sam, would you like to, I will draw another number. Can you raise it up? Is that good enough? Can you guys see that? It is pretty awful. If we had done this tomorrow, it would be worse. Well, maybe. So, can you guys all see that you are here? All right, you are here, right, in the pavilion? So tomorrow, to get to the flying site, can I get a show of hands of who went to the flying site today to practice? Okay. So the flying site is actually straight down Medella Road. Take a left. The very first gate on the left is the entrance to the flying site. It's right there. You'll see all the tents as you drive in that direction.
It's not going to work.
And so
Take it off.
it's a little bit more convenient here than it is at other Aero design sites, because all you have to do is be able to find where you are today, and you'll be able to find the flying site tomorrow. We are going to open the flying site tomorrow morning, bright and early, at 6:30. 6:30 is when we're going to commit to have the gates open. That feels awfully early in the morning. It will still be dark. And it is expected to be a little chilly tomorrow morning. Our humidity in Florida means chilly here is chilly. It goes straight to the bone. So make sure you dress warmly in layers so that you can get comfortable as the day goes on. A couple of rules. We are guests of the flying site, guests of the airport, and the tents are provided in partnership. And so there's a use agreement between us and the guy who actually rents those tents. And so he's got a big event next weekend. We need to be good stewards of our hosts and make sure that we are treating the rental with respect. There will be tables and chairs for every team, 1 table and 4 chairs. You guys are going to be rotating in and out throughout the day. And so 4 chairs is really all any team needs. You guys are going to have fun out at the flight line anyway. And so you guys will be able to pick those up where they're located. Glenn, did you get to see where they're located? Gianno said he was going to try to drop them off, the tables and chairs, in situ. Okay. They are all there, all set up. There will be no electricity in the tents. We have 2 generators. One of those will be used for you to power batteries, to charge batteries, and to do repairs. We will need to be notified. They don't have a whole lot of power available, and so we will pop the fuses tomorrow for sure. Just let us know so that we can go turn the fuses back on or restart the engine if they fail. Neil is going to be your guy for that. Neil, stand up. Are you going to be in lime green tomorrow too? No. He'll have a yellow vest. But Neil will be your point of contact for power, and I'm sure Neil will find somebody else to help him with that from the club, and we'll identify that person for you in the morning. When you get to your tent space, there are a lot of tents. The tents in the middle of the field at Show Center, those are reserved for our nurses station, SAE, and our volunteer desk. Make sure you leave plenty of room there. We'll have volunteers there to run you off so that we have a good central location for you guys to find us. We also have the weighing station, which Glenn will walk through where that's located, and we'll try to show you as best we can. And the rest of the tents that are out there are yours. And you guys, there's a ton of room out there. There's something like 18,000 square foot of tent space out there. Lots and lots of tent space. What we have to do to be good stewards of it is make sure when we leave that our garbage is picked up, our trash is picked up, and that the area is clean, right? We need to leave it better than we found it. We are allowed to leave the tables and chairs set up where they are. So just make sure that the place is clean when we leave, both Saturday and Sunday. So be responsible. Part of good safety practice in a lab environment or operating in the field is cleanliness anyway, to make sure that everything is known where it's at and where it's located. And so that's critically important. Now, I guess we said before 6 a.m. is what we said in the charts, but you're saying 6:30 we'll open? Okay. All right, so we will open at 6:30 tomorrow. Our charts say 6 o'clock. 6:30 is the time we will open, just so that there's light to operate by. Now, the field is a controlled airspace governed by the airport. It's real easy to get into trouble out there. We're not going to get into trouble out there. None of us look good in orange, if you understand me, right? And so we are only allowed in the field during designated times. The airport has to control the airspace for us so that no aircraft, no full-scale aircraft, try to get into the landing pattern approaching runway 5. If they have an emergency where they have runway 5, which is one of the runways that if you looked at a satellite map flies right over the top of us, we will have to shut down our operations temporarily to allow that aircraft to come in. We have never had that happen at this site, so I don't expect any trouble tomorrow, but the possibility always exists. So don't ask to be at the site early, don't ask to stay late. When it comes time to close the gates tomorrow, everybody has to be out of the gates. So if that means you're waiting on a ride or a bus to come get you, everybody has to be out of the gates because of the controlled nature of the space that we're in, that we're permitted to be in. So we have to be conscientious of that fact and respectful of the airport who's graciously allowing us to fly out of there. Everybody understand? Let me hear you say yes. Yes. All right. Tomorrow morning, we will open at 6:30. At 7:30, we will have a pilot's briefing. Every pilot will be at the briefing, right? Let me hear a yes. All right. All right. Brilliant.
Yeah.
We are engineers after all. Who had this gloriously brilliant idea? Lonnie? Lonnie. From 8 to 5, we will be flying. We will fly until 5 o'clock. Until the last class that we have called is wrapped up at 5, we will not start a new class after 5. So we will fly until the class that is on the runway operating is complete, and then we will begin Sunday. We'll begin Sunday at 6:30 with the next class in the rotation. Does everybody understand that?
Daylight savings time.
Get there next.
Yes.
All right. Now, the United States has daylight savings time, which means our clocks fluctuate by 1 hour seasonally to preserve daylight in the afternoon. Tomorrow is the same time that it is today. Sunday, advance your clocks 1 hour. Your cell phones should do that for you, but if they don't, be aware it's 1 hour earlier. So 6:30 is really 5:30 on Sunday. It'll be really, really dark Sunday morning for quite a while. We will begin Sunday morning flying at 8 o'clock with the class that immediately after the one we ended on Sunday. We will not begin, and I make this commitment to you, we will not begin a rotation in the flying unless we can wrap up every class by 1 o'clock on Sunday. We have on Sunday prepared, while we complete our scoring, we have a small flight demonstration, and then we will have an award ceremony, and we will try to get everybody out by 3. Everybody understand? I will even try to wrap up flying well before 1 o'clock. I will try to wrap it up by noon. Everybody understand? Let me hear the yes. Yes. All right. We're going to have fun. So, you guys who have been here before, I throw this chart up every year. Beware of Florida natives. We are going to be in a remote area of the airport that has some swampy ground, that has some unprepared woods. Florida is one of the many of the states in the union have venomous animals living in the state or living in their states. Florida is among the most prevalent states for that. Some of the wildlife up there that you see, which maybe you can see, is known to be in the area. If you see any danger noodles, we will call the airport, let us know, let SAE know, let the airport know, and they will be dealt with. Usually not in a friendly way. They will become a watch. But they are dangerous to you all. Please stay well clear of them. Do not pester them if you find one, because they are nasty. Next slide. Team raffle. My beautiful assistant Glenn. University of Western Ontario, Team 219. Here they come. What'd they get? A lovely router? A lovely router. Want to do another one? Let's do another one. Who wants another one? University of Virginia, who's flying? Come on up. Charlottesville. Those are pretty awesome. I have one of those in my garage. All right, we're going to move on to the next segment. Don't worry. All of the prizes will be gone by the time we leave. Glenn, would you like to kick this section off?
Okay, good evening. I'm Glenn Cashin. I'll be your flight boss tomorrow. I'll also be the chief judge. So thank you for your patience. I know we've been working with a little bit of light here. You guys did a great job working with us. We're going to go down this very quickly, and we will review everything for the pilots tomorrow. You don't want to get, you want to get it, your steward will need to get your flight, you'll get your flight card, you'll give it to your steward, then you get in line. You need to make sure that that happens before you get up to the line. There are actually two sets of line. One has a little S-turn in it, and then there's a little caveat. Do you have an overview of that? Thank you. So as you come and get into the queue line, there'll be the major part of the line, which will have everybody in it. When we call the 5-minute warning, that means you have 5 minutes, and the next start queuing up. So we're going to start with micro, then do regular, then do advanced. So micro lines up, they're going to come to the center of the field where you see the small airplane to your right. Will come up there, and the launch area is actually right in front of the small airplane. All flying will have a no-fly zone, which is out of bounds, which is the bottom edge of the runway. We'll discuss that with the pilots tomorrow, but just in general.
One quick one. When micro queues up, because micro uses a different queue line than the rest of the aircraft, when micro queues up, regular can queue up.
So the micro line starts coming straight ahead. The regular class can start the queue where you see the larger aircraft. There's an S-turn there. We'll run you all the way out the taxiway. You'll have an on-deck position. Once you go from the on-deck position, you will go to where you see the X. Ashley will be out there. She will call you onto the flight line. You put the mains down on the yellow line, and you will start your takeoff attempt. How long do you have? Who's got the answer? No. Regular class. Okay, you guys need to check your rule books.
Who read the rules?
What you got? 2 minutes. So micro has a minute. You guys have 2 minutes. Advanced has 3. It makes it really easy for you. When you come and put your mains down on the main runway, you have 100 feet to take off. If you do not have your takeoff in 100 feet, there'll be a second line at 100 feet. We'll let you come back to that position and try your takeoff again. You can have as many takeoff attempts as you can get done in the 2 minutes. Once your 2 minutes have elapsed, you need to exit off the runway. We'll have you exit off the center of the runway. If you have a successful takeoff, you will fly the pattern, which will be signaled out there. We'll have a flag for your first turn, a flag for your final turn, and then you must land starting at the line right there beyond the X where you can see the aircraft. You must land beyond that and stay inside your landing zone. Landing zone is indicated by the yellow stripes. We'll cover that with the pilots.
I want to introduce Ashley Flick. She will be out on the runway assisting Glenn. Ashley, what's your mantra for this part?
Run on time and wheels on main.
Good. Wheels on main is what she's up here saying. So make sure when you put your plane down, she's going to start the clock. And she's very, very good at keeping time. Making your flight, you'll complete your flight, land past this line that you can see now, and we will have you come to a stop. And if you're under control, I will give you permission to taxi off the runway. There's only one direction taxi off the runway. That will be to the right toward the pits. You can choose to take that, or you can choose to pull off the side. You can have 2 people recovering, and they will be down toward the center of the airfield, which is show center, and you will recover the aircraft very quickly, because as you're recovering, we're getting the next plane lined up, and it will be online, and Ashley will be starting the time. Your time starts when your mains go on the line, and you put your red arming plug in. It does not go in any time before that. If you have a successful flight, your steward will meet you. You will go to the weigh-in station, which is just down that part of the main runway, just behind show center, and you will get your plane. You will actually get timed for to remove the balls and your payload. Whatever can be unloaded in 2 minutes will count as your flight score bonus. If you're a micro class, you have an area of 200 feet to land in. We will launch into the wind as best as possible. The wind is going to be a little difficult. I'll talk about that when we get to advanced. You'll fly your pattern, which is very nicely rotated out here. Come back in and land on the runway in the landing zone. Not allowed to have anything out of the landing zone touching the ground. If you have a successful flight, you will go down the main walkway right there at show center and go down to the weigh station. So the weigh station is right here off the main walking area, to the right, down right there. That's the weigh station. You'll go there and make sure everything gets weighed, and then you can go back to regular class. Does the same thing, come to that same area. If you do not have a successful flight and you crash, which does happen, there will be recovery vehicles on each end or one end of the runway. They will take care of your aircraft. If you crash near the runway or on the runway, we will have you do the recovery very quickly, get everything up, all the FOD out, and pull it off to the side. For the advanced class, as you come into the queue, you will let us know whether you're going to be dropping upwind, downwind, or both. You get 2 passes over the drop area. So you're going to go out, take off. We're saying left to right takeoff. You're going to take this turn. First pass there, that's first time by the runway, by the drop zone. You can come back and take a second pass there. And I'm okay if you take that beyond the drop zone or close to the drop zone. I'm not worried about that, but you can take that. And then you're going to come back around, drop your CDAs wherever you're going to drop them outside the 200 feet, and come back in for your final approach, landing beyond the stripe and staying on the runway. Your second stripe is to the right before the X. Go to the right, right there. That's where your second stripe is. That's the end of your runway, not the pavement, but the mark down there. We'll have somebody scoring you to make sure you stay on pavement. 50% points off. I'm going to, yes. Go ahead. 2 passes upwind, 2 passes downwind, or 1. Yes. You're going to declare. That's what I said. When you come up to the line, you will declare 2 upwind or 2 downwind. This is just depleting 1 set. Okay? Yeah. So that is your process for advanced. If you have the proper scoring, do not go out to collect your deployable payloads. We will take care of that because they need to be scored in buckets. Your steward will take that and take that to the weigh station. Your aircraft will go back to the weigh station to be weighed, and then you can go back to the pits. If you have a malfunction and you go in, we'll take care of recovery. If it's close to the runway and I deem it's easy and quick for you to go get it, we'll say go get it. Your flight steward will say go get it. You will immediately remove your arming plug. That's micro, regular, and advanced. Immediately pull that plug, hold it up in the air so I can see it. That lets me know I can put the next plane on the line while you're getting the rest of the stuff up and Ashley can get her clock started. We want to make sure everything is moving efficiently and quickly, but it will be safe. Okay.
That's a critical one to note. When we say down your aircraft, if it is out of control, you down your aircraft. This picture here is the most expensive accident we have ever had.
Oh, I know what it is now. So, Poland, right back here. Raise your hand, pilot. Where are you? His boss, and I was on the flight line, and we talked to him about where his airplane was going. It was going in a bad direction, and I had to give him the unfortunate message of put your plane in. The plane went over, touched completely under, and came back almost 100 yards, spun, hit the prop on that airplane down there, and entered the side of the fuselage right behind the cockpit.
Got the other end of Davis.
This little black line you see is half of the aircraft hanging out. That big hole is where the metal part went through the aircraft and then passed through the cockpit and came out the other side partially. And when you go down here, you can leave here and see the little DC-3 on the end and look right behind the cockpit door. You'll see a patch that's not very pretty. That's where the tear is. If you go to the other side, you'll see some prettier patches. That's where the metal came out.
They bought that aircraft, by the way.
They did not buy the aircraft. So let's cover that really quickly. I'll be talking to the pilots about this tomorrow. I have been a pilot. I have been a student. I've been the safety officer. And when I say you got to put it in, that's the end of the discussion. I'll have a soft conversation. I'll go, pilot, how you feeling? If you can't give me I got it 100%, I'm going to let you know it's time to put it in. And I know it's unfortunate because some of you guys have tens of thousands of dollars of your school's money. But I cannot let anybody get hurt. So a couple other safety rules I want to cover. That's your general flight directions for tomorrow. A couple things I need to cover. No open-toed shoes. Everything must be closed-toed. You must, on the flight line, wear your glasses. So when you come out to get your airplane on the line, it's going to be a little breezy tomorrow, so we're going to allow you to have 2 people for regular and 2 people for advanced, because it might take an extra person to hold on the plane. And then if it's a third one, it's a pilot. There will be no camera people out there, but you will have 2 more people that can go to the end and be there for recovery.
There's a couple other topics I want to get on this chart. I'm going to use the mic. I don't need to use the mic, but I want to be able to talk tomorrow. So, a couple other things I want to talk about because of everybody's concern about the coronavirus and everything. Make sure that you're doing regular hand washing tomorrow. There will be hand washing stations out there. You will find hand sanitizer at locations around the campus. If you don't have it, First Aid will have some. Okay? Make sure you're regularly stopping by to wash your hands. Next, usually this is a repeat chart from years past. Heat can be a problem out here, not going to be our problem this weekend. Sunscreen, however, even though it's cold, in Florida the sun is so intense, it will fry your skin. Make sure you're applying sunscreen. I brought a gallon of sunscreen. Make sure you're visiting First Aid 4 hours at a time to reapply. Okay? I don't need sun poisoning at this event. Repeat with me. No sun poisoning. No sun poisoning. All right? It can happen in cold weather. I don't want to see it happen. Okay? We did have a volunteer a couple of years ago have a somewhat stroke because of such events. And I don't want to see that for any of you. You understand me? Yes. All right. Hydration. There are 4 pallets of water at the field. 4. Count them. That is more than we have ever had. So every team should be able to grab 1 case at a time for your team to have it close at hand. Do not waste it. I don't want to see half emptied bottles, and leave some for the volunteers. It's everybody's water. The other point I want to make is we will have portable outhouses, porta-johns out at the field for everybody. There are 11 of them, plus a handicap stall in accordance with Florida law. Keep them clean. Everybody has to use them. Keep them clean. Okay? Nobody wants to have an offensive mess in a porta-john, and I don't want to pay the security deposit. Do you understand me? Okay. We are guests here. Remember, be clean. And the 3 things not on the slide. Go back to the last slide.
So they did cut the grass 3 days ago. They did see snakes. Can you go back to the field picture? So if you go to the right side of the runway, the tents are right here. There's a little swampy area right about where the Aero was, just off the page right there, coming back toward the pits. They did find a very large snake, probably a moccasin. So do be aware we have disturbed some animals out there. So please be mindful of that. Yes. The other thing is, anybody that needs a limiter, I will have limiters on the flight line. I will be glad to provide them for you. There was a team that was supposed to see me about that. I would like for that to happen this evening. Also, if you have a battery that you have damaged and need to dispose of it, bring it up to the flight line. We have sand buckets up there. I'll make sure they're taken care of. Last but not least, advanced teams. Please listen up. Thank you. I need to see every advanced team right up here so you can get your tail stickers with your frequencies. You will not be allowed to fly without them, and you may be delayed from flying your first round. You need to make sure that your radios are cut off all the time when we're flying, and we're going to maintain the frequency control.
All right, a couple of things to wrap up. How many minutes do you have This is for the drill press. How many minutes do you have to get in the queue line after last call has been made? 5 minutes. Okay, I'm going to give this to somebody. I want, by show of hands, what the next process is from that. How does the queuing start? And what does the cutoff look like? Come on up here.
The pilots meeting's at 7:30 tomorrow morning, and then micro queues up at first at 8. And then regular can queue up once micro starts queuing up because they're in different lines. And then
At regular class last call, how does advanced class queue?
behind regular in the same line.
Same line. Well done. Okay, that team earned a drill press. Glenn, would you like to invent another one? No? All right, how about a raffle? We're going to raffle. I wanted to make sure that that 5 minute is crystal clear. Okay, that 5 minute is critical to making sure that everybody gets to fly a heck of a lot. Okay? How many flight rounds would you like to get? All of them. All of them. Okay? And the only way you're going to get all of them is to be quick. So when we call for a class, get in line right away. Be ready. Be operationally ready so that we just move. 1 attempt per round. All right, and for a new battery charger. No, this is Flying Panda, Team 30 from China. They're not here, they canceled. You gave me that's a bad omen. Oh, got it. Institute Tech d'Aeronautica, Levatia, Team 211. Team 211. New battery charger. Now, this is kind of the coolest one, I think. A little scroll saw so you can cut new airfoils and things in the field. Repair damage, that's the name of the game. Politechnika Poznanska, White Eagle, Team 19. And I think that's it. Sam, do you have any? Oh, Sam's got stuff. Woo-hoo. Sam's got stuff. So we're putting everybody's names back in. We're gonna shake this up. This is for early registration. For attending the mandatory meeting, you have a spot, a guaranteed spot for next year if you register. California State University, Northridge, El Toro Volador, 225, gotta be here. Must be present to win. Are they not here? Are they not here? Oh, there they are. Congratulations. Okay. But wait, there's more. Our illustrious leader just snubbed the microphone. University of North Florida, the Flying Ospreys, Team 22. The local boys. One more, last call. Manipal Institute of Technology, Aero MIT 304. All right, guys, I'm going to dismiss you. Oh, wait, Sam's got some remarks. Okay.
Hey guys, hang on a minute, please. A lot of information was given to you tonight. This will be available, Ray, on YouTube.
It is, yes.